Welcome to the Builders of Authority podcast, a show committed to helping you build authority for your brand. In the realm of business and personal branding, authority stands as a cornerstone. Authority isn't built overnight, it's built over time. So join us as we build something remarkable together. And now, here's your host, Adam McChesney.
Hey, what's going on, everyone? Welcome back to another episode of the Builders of Authority podcast. We are doing a remote episode here today with an incredible guest here at Adventure Unknown, where I'm recording, thanks to the team over at Trueline Media Group. He and I have known each other for over a year now. We started doing marketing for one of his companies a year ago and recently building a new website for one of his other ventures. They're awesome clients, amazing people, and we love working with them. A few months ago, he and I hopped on a Zoom call just to catch up and learn a little bit more about each other. I knew he had a lot going on, which says a lot when I think somebody has a lot going on, because normally I'm the person that everybody says that about. But I had no idea everything he had going on, not to mention his extensive background and experience in so many different verticals. We connected, thought about business and life in the same way in many different aspects. And then shortly after, his marketing manager saw a podcast episode and was like, hey, you need to get Sam on the show. And I was like, yes, yes, I do. So here we are today. And I just found out it's actually his first podcast episode as a guest, which is shocking to me because he's an incredible person. And I'm happy to be the first episode. So my guest today is Sam Chapman. Sam, welcome to the show.
Oh, what's up, Adam? Thanks for having me.
No, man, I'm excited to dive into the conversation today. Let's get started by, learning a little bit more about who Sam is. So if you can give the audience kind of a quick overview on that, that'd be great.
Yeah, I'm Sam Chapman. I live in Northern Virginia. I'm a little further west outside of DC. So Northern Virginia is a pretty big bubble. I'm on the outskirts of it in a place called Loudoun County. So I grew up here about 45 minutes outside of DC in Virginia. Live here with my wife, and we have 5 kids, and we're having number 6 in 1 month. Mm-hmm. So have a big family, and went away to college at University of Tennessee for a little bit, and then moved back here around 2010, 2011, and have been building businesses in this area since.
Incredible. So what was the first business venture?
Yeah, so I'll backtrack a little bit and then bring it full circle and just tell you a little bit of our story and how we got started, because that's a question I get all the time. I don't know if you do, but just how did you get started? How did you get here? Why do you have this business and where did it come from?
Yep.
For me, it was pretty organic. And I'm not gonna say it happened by accident. There's been a lot of intentionality in it, but in the beginning, it was a little bit by accident. And so my father was an entrepreneur, had his own business. I grew up in a self-employed home, watched him start and build a construction business my whole life. So I had a front row seat to just that mentality, that work ethic, that sacrifice, what it took to create something on your own. Very grateful for that. Appreciate that very much. But coming out of college around 08, 09 in construction, which is what the family business was in, there wasn't a lot going on. And so got out of school, have an older brother who's 18 months older than me. And essentially my dad looked at us and said, what are you guys going to do? You need to figure it out. You need to get a job. Right. And, so I went and got a job. I went and got a job in real estate, doing commercial real estate, representing landlords and tenants in or around the DC market. My brother, took a little riskier path and said, I'm going to borrow some hard money and start flipping houses. And so Casey in 2011, I think he bought his first house on a credit card.
Wow.
And buying that house is what started Caseco LLC. He had to create an LLC, and he had to have a place to park that property. And so he created an LLC called Caseco. No intentions of really building that into a general contracting company or other businesses at that time. But he started Caseco, started flipping houses, did 1 house, did 2 houses. And I was helping him on the side, right? I was doing real estate, but I was working with my brother, not married at the time, and seeing what he had going on. And you'll put me more in the visionary bucket. And so as things started to pick up, I had a vision of what we could build out of Caseco, and we could turn it into a general contracting company and brand it and start marketing it and start doing work for other folks. So in 2013, I made the jump over, sold Casey on that dream, partnered with him, and we started Caseco. And we started, worked with a buddy of mine who came over on my couch one night and created my first logo, built the website from scratch on our own. I wrote all the content on it, not really knowing what we're doing, but knew that we were going to start this construction company. And because we flipped some houses, people started calling and asking us to do some work for them. An important piece of this is our third partner, Aaron McClary, who in the background is my childhood best friend, always talked about working together. So it's important to say that like behind the scenes, Casey, Aaron, and I had always dreamed of building something together. We didn't know exactly what that would be. So when we started Caseco in 2013 and going down the road of building a general contracting company in commercial and residential construction, we weren't sure exactly where it would end up, but we knew we wanted to do something together. And we thought that we liked the idea of a partnership, and we liked the idea of coming together to build something of massive value, frankly. Shortly after, Aaron jumped over on board, and the three of us kind of sat down and said, all right, we were doing odds and end residential projects, small, decks, basements, additions, nothing too fancy, but we were cash flowing and we were keeping the doors open. And so Caseco started as a really local construction company doing mostly residential construction and a little bit of commercial. Around 2016 is when we got really intentional around our vision and what we wanted to create. And it was important to us coming out of school around 2008, seeing what happened in the economy. We knew that we wanted to build a business that could withstand any economic situation. Like we wanted to diversify. There were three of us. We wanted to diversify. We wanted to protect ourselves against an economic downturn. And so how are we going to do that? And so we decided very intentionally to keep building in residential, in commercial. And then we started a company that I now run called Merit Restorations that does insurance restoration work. So fire, water, storms. In the beginning, it was, like you're good at a lot of things. You're not great at anything. We were a little scattered, but we believed in diversifying. We believed in the power of a partnership. We got very clear on our roles and responsibilities in each of these businesses, and we set out to build these businesses. And but to answer your original question, how did I get into it? How did it happen? Well, essentially, my dad told me to go get a job. My brother started flipping houses. Through flipping houses, people started asking us to do projects for them. And in that process, all these companies were born. And then, you add 10 years onto that story, which we could talk about in a minute.
Yeah, that's incredible, man. I appreciate you sharing that. The question that I think comes to my mind, I'm sure that comes to many listeners, is like, hey, a lot of people say don't get into business with family, and then they say don't get into business with friends. And you're talking about your brother, your childhood best friend. Talk to us about, just jumping in and doing that. And then what you guys have learned in that experience, probably on how to prioritize the family side and friendship, and then separate that out from the business and having those different conversations. Talk to us a little bit about that, because I think a lot of people are interested in hearing from somebody that's had success with it.
Man, that's yeah, I mean, you can imagine this is something I think about all the time. People do ask this to us all the time. How have we stuck together now that it's been 10 plus years of working together with my brother and childhood best friend. One of the very first commitments we made to each other was two things. Like, one, we really believed in the power of the three of us together. We recognize each other's strengths. We recognize each other's skill sets, and we knew and we really believed that, one, we'd be fine independently, but we could build something really special and really big and much quicker if we did it together.
Yep.
And so we chose to do that. Then we also made a commitment to each other to just be, radically transparent and honest with each other. Like we weren't going to hold anything in. We weren't going to be quiet. We weren't going to let resentment kind of settle into our relationship. And so from the very beginning, there's been a relentless commitment to, and like a safe place to have brutally honest conversations with each other. Even when it was just the three of us, because there are things that are going to come up. There's decisions that are going to be made that you don't agree with. There are things you are going to want to do. I'll be honest, like me being more in the marketing, sales, BD, creative side, it probably took me 6 months to convince them to work with Builders of Authority. In the sense of like, I want to go in this direction. I want to go in this direction, and having to work within a partnership to navigate that decision to get everyone on board it's a really interesting thing. But ultimately, I think number one, knowing that these guys love you and they care about you and they have your best interest in mind always, no matter what. And then a commitment to finish together. Like we said day one of this, like if we get to the end of this, whatever the end of this is or might look like, if we're not together, it was a failure.
Yeah.
So if we could only build it to a $5 million business and stick together, then that's all that it would be.
Yeah.
If we can build it to a $100 million business, then that's what it'll be. And there was a commitment to that from day one. Like finish together, the future together is actually something I put on a lot of our stuff. I end the emails with it. Like it's something we say a lot because it has there's a lot of purpose behind that statement. It's very important to us that we do this together and that we finish this together and finish what we started together. So
yeah. No, that's awesome. I think, I know quite a few people that whether they're in the family business or they're working with their brother, their sister, or their spouse, or their best friend or whatever, and they've done it and it's been successful, just like your story. And then obviously you hear about all the other stuff as well. And so many people focus on the negativity aspect where it's like, oh, you only hear typically the horror stories of those things going wrong. And I tell people is, I had my brother work for me for like 3 weeks and then he quit because he said, Adam, this is too hard. Like, he's a decade younger than me. Right. So like there is that aspect of that generation, in my opinion. But with that being said, right, is I look at, regardless of if I would have family or a friend in there, is and I saw a post about this a couple weeks ago, is that your business and entrepreneurship will show your weaknesses. And one of my weaknesses is I just don't like having tough conversations in business, whether it's my COO, like to the entry level content writer that I have in my team. And that would get magnified having a family member in there. And so I think you just have to know, as you mentioned, what are your strengths? What are your weaknesses? And it sounds like you guys complement one another very well, which my next question is how did you guys figure that out in the beginning? Because I think people struggle with that in business, whether you have a business partner or not, or you have multiple partners, is we all have these ideas. You're a visionary, I'm a visionary, but how did you connect the dots with the other guys?
Yeah, that's a great question. And it really was connecting the dots, and that's something we've used that phrase a lot, like over the last 15 years. And that's something that's how I describe a lot of times to people, like what I do, right? Is I connect the dots. And I would say to some degree, I did that with my brother and with my best friend. At first, I'd be lying if I told you we saw it clearly and we understood personalities and strengths and how each of us would fit in this business. That would be a lie. Yeah. But I think when we were in college, I had a lot of friends. I have a lot of guy friends. I have a big community that I do life with. There's only been one friend that I felt cool to be a partner with. I have a lot of really close friends I would never partner with.
Yep.
Right. Yep. And so early on, intuition, gut, there was, I saw something in Casey and Aaron and me in our differences that, and they saw it too, that it just seemed right. I wish there was a more intelligent answer, but it was I could work with these two people. One, there was a deep love for those guys, but it's not about that. I have love for other folks that I would never work with. I respected them each so much, and in what they were good at, and they complimented me so much in what I wasn't good at that you could just recognize the power. Like if we came together, our superpowers combined would be pretty phenomenal, and we could build something really special. And when you like, really the secret energy was like not looking at it from a lens of like what's in this for me, but from like who you believe in that's coming with you. And like I just really believed in these guys, and I knew they really believed in me. You know, one's my brother, and one's my best friend. But the way it just shaked out, like I just had so much belief in their strengths, and they had so much belief in me, and that energy was real, and just trusted that gut and that feeling, you know. And there were a lot of people who told us in the beginning, like, you should not do this. Like, you should not partner with your brother and best friend. And I'll be really transparent with you. My dad was in a partnership with his brother that it didn't end great, and I saw that firsthand, and that was always lingering like in the back of my head. So you do see that, but for me, it was worth the risk. Like I love these guys, and if I had the opportunity to take a shot at building something great with two people that I love doing life with, that just seemed like the best thing ever.
Yeah. No, and that's really important, I think, as well, that you mentioned that backstory where you saw it not go well inside of your own family. And a lot of people, not just talking about partnering with a family member in business, this is the example here, but a lot of people see something happen and they're like, oh my gosh, I saw it go wrong. I don't even want to go down that path and give it a try. I'm like, man, everybody's story is different. There's different circumstances. The individual that you're comparing yourself to, right, wrong, or indifferent, the situation is different. The individual, the business is different. Yeah. So it's really cool to hear that you saw that and you still trusted your gut, had the intuition to say, hey, we can make this work. My next question, and kind of shifting a little bit, I know you're kind of in the marketing, sales, business development realm. How did you decide, like, hey, we're going to not just take this company to the next level and brand it differently, and we'll add merit restorations and do all the different stuff that you do today, but how did you guys, in a traditional industry where it's like, hey, I'm just going to take my hammer out and do word of mouth and like hope the business grows, how have you guys brought innovation, marketing, sales, all of that stuff to separate yourselves from the competition?
Man, that's a great question. Yeah, so I think I don't know about all businesses, but I think most businesses in construction or even in trades and services, a lot of them start at a very local level.
Yep.
Supported by friends and family in that community.
Yep.
And so we knew we wanted to build something bigger than that. We knew we didn't want to be restricted to a small region. We knew we wanted to expand past our region. But that was always driven by like the why behind what we do, and our like the real purpose that really drove that pushed us to keep expanding our vision and keep growing was, one, we wanted to make an impact on our community and other communities. And we wanted to build a business where other people could come and realize their own vision and grow and succeed. And the only way to help other people like live out their vision and to grow and succeed in that is for you to keep expanding your vision and building and growing your own business.
Yep.
And so like our growth was always fueled by not by dollars and cents and not just by chasing a revenue number. It was like, no, like we are the type of people we want in our business are, you know, the high performers, the entrepreneurial, driven, self-starter, high character, just very motivated people. And those people, what we found, one, that's what was going to help us succeed is having the right type of people on our team, people that were wired like that and that shared the same values that we shared. But also, if your vision isn't big enough and your growth doesn't maintain, like you will eventually lose those people too.
Yeah.
Because they're going to, one, start their own business, or two, they're going to go to a company to where they can lean more into their vision and their dream. And so that always pushed our ceiling of growth. But yeah, I mean, if that answers your question. So it was mostly driven by creating creating the dream big enough to where the people that we now have on our team could live out, their own dream within that. But then also, like, we've never, I'll give you an example. I'll give you a good example of just the culture that we've created and how we think. We have a really close friend and partner that is an architect that we do business with here in Virginia. Right. And we've worked with him to help build houses here locally in Northern Virginia. He came to Aaron, my partner, a couple years ago with an opportunity to build homes in a warehouse in Florida and ship them to Abaco in the Bahamas. He had a design that he had a patent on to do that. He had a developer that wanted to purchase those homes. He needed a contractor that could understand that vision and help him make it a reality and help deliver these homes. And when opportunities like that have presented themselves to Casey, Aaron, and I, there's been a lot of encouragement and, maybe call it a little bit ignorant, but we've always believed that we could find a solution to any problem. Like, there's this great problem. They're trying to figure out how to build homes in the Bahamas. They're trying to build them faster. They're trying to get them there. How can we help them save money and build homes quicker in the Bahamas? Like, let's solve this problem. So we've always positioned ourselves and looked at ourselves, and this is something we work with constantly with our teams, we want the most complicated projects. We want the most complex situations. We are gonna bring solutions to whatever those problems are. And that's just, it's how we're hardwired. It's how we started the company, and it's still how we look at things today. We're very, very solution focused, and we want the challenges. We want the hard things. And I think when you're constantly pursuing those like in that mindset, growth comes from that naturally to some degree.
And I think like what you mentioned kind of end to end there is not just like how you guys differentiate yourself, but the team and the culture and the missions and the vision and the values that you guys have combined with the ability to go solve problems in real time. That most people are just like, hey, I'm not interested in going and actually finding the solution. And I tell people all the time is like, the more problems you solve and the more solutions you provide to the table, the more opportunities come, the more money you make. All of that stuff is a byproduct. But I've watched your guys' company over the last year and a half now, not just from like what you post or what Brittany posts, but like what you guys post from the company pages, just seeing how you guys are active in the community and seeing what you guys post online when you guys are doing your team outings. I'm like, that's freaking cool. Like, I would love to work for a company like that just cares. And I think that goes down to your clients, that goes down to your community, that goes down to your team, and you can sense it just in seeing the content. And I think that's probably one of the coolest things of what I've seen you guys do.
Yeah, no, I appreciate you saying that. That means a lot because it hasn't always been like that, right? And what I mean is you've been watching it for the last year, but the truth is, in this 10 to 15 year journey, there have been some really hard times, especially with people and culture, right?
Sure.
And that's something that, I would say the hardest, in going back to being in a partnership with your brother and your childhood best friend, I've had other friends in this business that aren't here anymore. I've hired friends that were maybe a mitigation tech, maybe a project manager, friends that eventually even became a partner in one of the businesses that aren't here anymore. And so there's been some really hard times in that, like, which I'm really grateful for, right? But you've seen the last year, but if you would have looked at the last 3 or 4, you would have seen a Sam that was, not being the leader that he was 100% called to be, in the sense of he was avoiding some really hard decisions, right? And there were people in the business that, maybe didn't care much about culture, or maybe didn't care much about working together as a team, or maybe didn't share the same values, or maybe a group of people that did try to build a little silo over here and do their own thing and not buy into what the whole team was trying to do. And when you have a high performer and people who are really good at their job, or a really high up sales guy that's driving a ton of revenue that is very toxic for your culture, that's a really hard decision to make. And I feel like you see posts on this all the time or podcasts on it, fairly often. But I was a product of that. Like I had some decisions over the last 5 years. There were a lot of decisions that should have been made probably years ago that were avoided because one, I cared about the person. It was my friend. I loved them. I saw the best in them. I was optimistic. They could change. We can fix this. They can trying to reposition people constantly to different roles to make it work. I did all the above. And then about, last year, things blew up a little bit. And which you could look at, and frankly, from some of my posts on social media, I think people do look at it as a negative. Like I'll have people hit me up like, man, is your business all right? Are you all right? And that's not yes, it's the posts are real, but I do see those things as a positive and as probably the best thing that ever could have happened to our businesses, right? By a few things coming to light that you couldn't ignore, things you couldn't overlook, other things were exposed. And the results of that is you got to make those decisions. You're kind of forced to make those decisions. And then once you make those decisions and what you've seen over the last year on social media and where we're at today, it's a 180. The culture is different. The team comes together. Other people rise up. Younger guys see it as an opportunity to grow and develop. And once you make that mistake once with your culture, and you see not just the culture and the people and the morale impact, but the financial impact of how some things were left, and then working through that, you're not going to do it again. You won't do it again. But so since we've known each other, you've seen the coming up from all that. But there were a few years that were in that were not as fun.
No, I mean, I'm glad you brought up that part. And obviously, I know that there's always stuff going on behind the scenes, even in my business where people are like, man, this is so cool. I'm like, live a day in the life, man. Here's everything you want to know, right? But it's so funny that, that's the perception, right? That so many people see. In reality, knowing the hardships that actually are required in order to follow through. So I'm doing a solo episode after this, and the theme and the title of the episode is what the true cost of winning in entrepreneurship actually looks like. Because so many people look and they see stuff and they're like, man, it's but no, you don't realize sometimes. And I'm not saying you can't have it all. You can absolutely have it all, but there are sacrifices that do have to get made from time to time where you're hey, I am the owner. This is my mess that I have to clean up and I have to do. And you're going to have to go do it. And it's not always pretty. It's not always ugly, or it's not always ugly as well, but it can get ugly. And that's what people are just I want to own a business, but I want it to be passive. I want to own a business and I want somebody to run the company for me. And it's you don't get to pick and choose, when you want to own the company versus when you want to deal with what actually is required to be an owner.
Yeah. No, absolutely.
What are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, I think the idea that you can cheat the front end and that you can take shortcuts and not go through the necessary steps to get there and half-ass it, you could say, that's it doesn't work like that.
Yep.
You can't cheat the front end. You can't take the shortcuts. At some point in time, it will catch up to you. And the sacrifice is, for me, I've chosen to build a life. We really started growing this business in 2016.
Yeah.
I had my first kid in February of 2016. We started Merit in March of 2016. And so the last 10 years, I've been building my business and building my family. We've had 5 kids. We've built our own home. We've built these businesses really all in the last 10 years. And so there's been a tremendous amount of sacrifice, but I'm very intentional in trying to not separate work and life. work is life and life is work, and we bring it all together. And family's a huge part of our business. And my kids are in the office, and Brittany, who her kids are in the office,
Yeah.
and like it's blended. And I think that helps soften the blow of some of the personal sacrifices when you can do it like that.
Yep.
But make no mistake, I mean, when I avoided some of those really hard decisions last year and the business took a hit, like one thing I try to avoid doing is stepping in and being the hero.
Yeah.
Like I want my leaders and I want my team, I want them to be the hero. I
Yep.
want them to save the day. And that's what I try to do now. And that's ultimately the goal, right? So the like Brittany, who's our director of marketing, or Jason, who's our VP of commercial, or the guys running some of the merit locations. Like I want those guys to be the hero. But sometimes as a leader, when things go a certain direction, like you have to step in and be the hero, and it's going to have a massive impact on your life. And some of the decisions I avoided last year, they had a big impact on my life. Probably in a negative way when you look at it from a time standpoint and a family standpoint, but a very positive way when you look at it from where the business is today standpoint. So.
Yeah, man, the tough decisions, like the ones that you're like, I knew I should have done this, and I should have done this like 6 months ago, and then 6 months, nothing changes. You like want to see, and I think that's the problem, not the problem, one of the weaknesses of high performers that do just want to see the best in people, right? Where you're like, hey, I know this person has potential. Like we had to let somebody go 6 months ago, or maybe not 6 months ago, 5 months ago, that I'm like, man, I've worked with this person for a while. She was helping me out with my own social media and doing all this stuff. I'm like, man, like I've seen the potential in this person before. And I know that they have done this stuff, but like there's only so many things that you can do. And you make decisions sometimes or not make decisions because you're like, man, I feel for the person. Like I want to see them survive and thrive and all that stuff. But you also at some point have to leave it up to that person to go do the thing and let them shine or lack thereof. And sometimes when you have to let that person go or make that have that tough conversation and draw the line in the sand, sometimes it's actually, and usually it actually is what's best for them as well.
For sure.
Like, and they know deep down it probably is too. They just may not admit it.
100%. 100%. I see this all the time. And I think it gets misused a lot in business. I think it gets people in a lot of trouble. Frankly, I know it's gotten me in trouble. Is the word loyalty. The word loyalty is a tricky word, right? Like loyalty. Like what is loyalty if like without accountability? Like you can have loyalty to people, but there still has to be accountability.
Yes.
Right? You can trust people and see the best in them, but you still got to inspect their work. Otherwise, you're just assuming.
Yep.
And that doesn't end well, right? And so I think what I've seen and what I've been hit back with sometimes from low or mid performers that frankly haven't made it in the business is they try to get pretty defensive, and they usually come back with like, you don't trust me? Like, you don't, it's like, and they try to manipulate that. And you got to watch for that. Like that's a really tricky one, but you can be loyal to people. You can have high standards, right? And you can have a culture of accountability. And that goes both ways. It goes back to you too, right? And what I've found is those high performers, those people you want on your team, like they love accountability. They like when you come look at, they want the recognition. They like when you come look at their work and check up on them, right? And so
absolutely,
that's been a really important one for me.
Yeah. No, it's pretty funny that you say that because the high performers want exactly what you just mentioned, and then they're going to thrive and shine in that environment. The worst thing I've ever done, and I've done it so many different times, is like you make a position for somebody in the company when they're failing and you're like, hey, I know, I just want to like bring you over here and go do this thing or whatever. But then like consistency ends up happening where it's like, it doesn't matter what the role is, it's just not going to work out. But then you like change, and this is a big aspect. You change your expectations for that person, and then people see that too, right?
Yeah.
Whether they see it physically or they
Yeah.
see it because they're smart. High performers are like, man, what the heck? Like they're at 50% capacity just over in the corner because they're too scared to let the person go. And again, the high performers see that stuff, and it does impact everything else.
Dude, 100%. 100%. I think there's nothing that will demotivate a high performer more than lumping them in with lower performers.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Like you can't go speak to the team like in general. Like if you're speaking to one or two low performers on that team, like do not lump in the high performers with them.
Yep.
Right. That will kill morale every time.
Yep. So what are you most excited about? I know you guys like have a lot of, moving parts and pieces, but like in 2026, the next couple of years coming up, like what's the vision that you can share? What's like got your excitement going, all that good stuff?
Yeah, there's so much, but like I said a little bit earlier, I run Merit, right? I am all in on Merit right now and building that team and building that business. And it's been a lot of fun. That's a transition I made about 6 months ago.
Okay.
We have 4 offices right now, one in Northern Virginia, one in Central Virginia, one over in Virginia Beach on the coast, and then one down in Dallas, Texas. But what has me most excited right now is the growth plans for the next 2 to 3 years. Like we have plans to aggressively scale and grow Merit over the next 2 to 3 years. I'm really excited about that. And I'm probably most excited, if I had to backtrack a little bit, about our culture right now, the way our team is working together, like the people we have in seats right now, the way that they're working together, the teamwork that I see every day and the impact that's creating, like that hands down has me most excited. That wasn't always the case. When you have a group of people that aren't working as a team and aren't working together and you have to navigate that every day as a leader, like that's exhausting. So when you get a team of people, I look at it like a sports team, right? And there's a reason why some teams win the Super Bowl and some teams don't. Like there is something special going on in that locker room. Maybe they don't have the best talent, but the way they're working together, the belief in each other, and the impact that they're creating as a team, as a group, as a unit, is real. And that's what we have going on right now in Merit. And that has me just so excited. And I know because of that the ceiling over the next 2 to 3 years is extremely high. Like we're in a really good position right now to grow and scale. And we plan on doing that pretty aggressively over the next few years. I can't speak to all the details of that, but that's where my focus will be over the next few years. And I'm really excited about that.
That's awesome, man. Well, I'm excited for you guys, and I'm excited to work with you guys on living that mission out and helping where we help out with and all that good stuff. As we're kind of wrapping up the episode, I know that you have years in the game. Is there something that you wish you would have known that maybe we haven't touched on today that you're like, hey, if I was just getting started and had to do this over again and I had zero experience, what's something that I would have told Sam back in the day when he was just getting started that would have maybe helped him take a little bit of a shortcut?
Oh man. Be very careful about what you commit to. Like be very careful about what you commit to, because like there's no honorable way to fail on a commitment that you freely made.
Yep.
And so you can frame that and just, saying no more, learning what to say no to, make your no bigger. The bigger my no is, the stronger my yes is. But for me, it's be very careful about what you commit to. That's a lesson I've learned the hard way. I think naturally I'm a people pleaser. I like making people happy. I like saying yes.
Yeah.
But again, there's no honorable way to fail on a commitment that you freely made. So watch what you commit to. Watch what be very, very intentional about what you say yes to. Protect your peace, protect your time. And just watch what you commit to and learn to say no more.
Yeah. I mean, that's a powerful way to end this episode, because I think it's something that everybody struggles with, especially visionaries, people pleasers, people that just like care. But one of the things that you don't realize is that, they say if you try to whatever the saying is, you have to have your cup full before you go fill everybody else's cup. Like saying no when you're just getting started feels like the most impossible thing to do. And it doesn't get any easier. It actually gets harder because more opportunities present themselves. And then the magnitude of those decisions is that much more important. But you have to put yourself and your business first, and in so many different regards. And if you keep saying yes to everything, it's going to take you away from what actually matters. And so I'm glad you shared that, because I think it's something that everybody absolutely can take something from.
Yeah, 100%. 100. Like, I wish I knew that at 25. And the other, if I had to leave one more nugget, as I really think back through it and things I wish I would have known, like, and something I tell young entrepreneurs all the time that I talk with and work with, and even people on my team, is that, look, like, you don't need somebody else to open up your future for you. Like go do it. Like, start it, especially for guys and girls in their young 20s. Like, the pressure that the world puts on kids coming out of college or even before college, that, like, that one question, like, what are you going to do? You got to have it all figured out. It's like, no, like, just go do it. Go try it. Go build, like, whatever you're dreaming, like, go build it. Go get started. Get going.
I love it, man. Well, thank you so much for coming on the podcast. What are your thoughts on the first episode?
Dude, I've loved it. This is fun. I have, I'll be honest, and I'll end with this. This would be a cool way to end. For me, like, you've been someone that I've never met personally. You have helped us a lot in our business over the last year. We have that relationship, but even how did that come about? Like, through a group on social media, I find this guy, Adam, and watching the way that you've built your personal brand. Like, I've always been really hesitant to put my face out there on social media and build my personal brand and tag, like, Sam's name with this brand. I've never done it. Like, this is my first podcast, and I post some things occasionally on my personal Facebook page, but beyond that, I've done nothing. And you've inspired me a little bit when it comes to just building your personal brand and what that can do for your business. So I'm glad that the first podcast was with you, because, just watching you from afar, watching the way you built your business, watching the way, like, just how relentless and committed you are to building your own personal brand alongside those businesses. Like, whether you know it or not, like, people see it. I saw it from Virginia. And so just keep going, because it's one of the things that probably encouraged me to come onto your podcast. And so I appreciate that.
Awesome. Man, I appreciate you ending the episode with that, and I appreciate you, your business, getting to learn more about you, and I'm excited to see you take that next step with the personal brand, man, because you got so much to share, and people can learn from you, which that's where I kind of want to finish the episode. Where can people stay connected with you, learn more about you, your companies, all that good stuff on social media?
Yeah, so Instagram, Facebook, all social medias. You have Caseco, Caseco, so Caseco Homes, Merit Restorations, MERIT Restorations. Those are the handles on Instagram and Facebook. So Caseco.net, meritrestorations.com. You can find my personal pages through that. But websites there, social medias are all there. So Caseco and Merit Restorations. You can find us pretty much anywhere. We're actively trying to build those brands and those, like, our presence right now. Adam's doing a website for us right now for our home building company. So you can find us online.
Love it, man. Well, thank you so much again. It was great chatting with you, and appreciate you as always.
Awesome, man. Thank you.
And thank you so much to the audience for listening or watching today's episode. If you're listening on the podcast platform of your choice, make sure to leave us a review, subscribe, download the videos, all that good stuff, so that way you can catch more of this content. If you're watching on YouTube, leave a comment, share this on social media. It definitely helps us push the needle and goes a long way. Thank you so much for watching or listening. We'll see you next week. And remember, authority isn't built overnight, it's built over time.
Thanks so much for tuning into this episode. We sure do appreciate it. If you haven't done so already, make sure you're subscribed to the show wherever you consume podcasts. This way you'll get notifications as new episodes become available. If you feel so inclined, please leave us a review. We sure do appreciate it. Until next time, friends.